Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. Once again, filmed on location here at the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach. A reminder to always buy your cards local if you can. If you can't, use that affiliate link, Tibalt's Apprentice, and go to tcgplayer.com. Pick up your cards there. Helps out the channel. Today's episode is two-part, and it starts from a comment that was made by Coder B. I need to learn to play more for fun. I tend to be too competitive. I decided to look at this, whether Coder B actually intended that as being a topic or not, doesn't matter. I decided to look at it and I came up with 3 things I think that will help as far as being a less competitive player and enjoying the game more. These things might seem like, well, duh, at first, but hear me out. Number 1, you really have to not care about winning. You have to remove that from the equation. How do you do that? By giving yourself alternate win conditions. Doesn't have to be anything that you share with anybody else at the table. Just make up in your mind something that you can think of that would help you play a better game. For example, first time that I did this, I made a decision, a conscious decision, not to play anything for the first 5 turns. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I tend to start out a little bit too quickly, maybe put out my commander before it belongs there, and so on. Instead of doing that, I decided I would sit back and let the first 5 turns go by doing nothing but observe the game. Turns out I went on to win the game, but that's neither here nor there. By removing that obstruction, that desire to win, and giving myself an alternate condition, I actually found that I enjoyed the game more and was able to more easily feel the energy of the game. Sounding weird now. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is play more games. Again, maybe you're saying duh at this point. But the idea here being, if you're limited in the time that you're playing, the few games that you're playing, you're going to have an over-exaggerated idea of, I've got to do something, I've got to make a play. And if you're focused on winning those games, it's going to blind you to what's actually happening. I'm lucky enough to live in an area where I'm able to play multiple times at multiple locations with lots of different players. I play at least 4 games a week, if not more, of Commander. And that's helped take the pressure off. And again, it has to be games that are played in person. Playing on spell table, not quite the same effect. But regardless, however you can play more often, that need to win will help dissipate. Number 3, the most important thing, play a competitive deck. Now this maybe seems counterintuitive. That's it. Playing a more competitive deck seems counterintuitive to taking the winning out of the equation. But here's the key to it. If you have a deck that you have confidence in, you're not going to be stressing and you can actually enjoy the game. If you know the deck is going to work for you, you're not constantly struggling with it and you can take time to enjoy other parts of the game. Here's the payoff we've been waiting for. How do you find a competitive deck? Well, let's take a look at my Kaalia the Vast deck. If you look at it to begin with, it had a 30% overall score for competitiveness. We're going to bump that up to 65%. Let's see how we do that. All right, so you've been super patient to hang out with us so far, and let's just get right to it. I really wish Tapped Out would update their website. It has a very old, antique look to it, and these ads just everywhere are just like a nuisance, and it seems like it brings down the value of the site to me. That's my opinion anyhow. So we are on tappedout.net. I am in there listed as Mad Saxon, and I'm going to talk about the decks and upgrading the Kaalia the Vast deck. I was horrified to realize that one of my favorite decks that I often win with is 30% competitive, 70% casual. It feels like it's a little bit stronger than that. It doesn't feel like it's a broken CEDH deck, but I could definitely improve it. And one of the ways of improving it is adding some more instants in there and so on. I'm not going to go through every card in the deck because you can do that yourself if you choose to go there. What I am instead going to do is look at the upgrades that I made to this deck, and it now has a 66% rank as far as being competitive, with a 34% being casual. The nice thing that I can do also is compare decks. So if you scroll over here, and let's see, where is it? Here we go. Compare to another deck. I can grab another deck, and let me see if I can find that really quick here. Tapped out. Do this. I've got my hands full. Obviously, this is filmed at a separate time as the other video, and I have my computer sitting in my lap, and I'm in the ease and the comfort of a chair. All decks, yes. Here is the deck that I want to compare. So I've got that. I'm going to drop that in here. I'm going to compare the two, and it easily will show you what's been taken out and what's been added in. The ones here with the pluses have been removed from the other deck, and these are the ones that have been added. Now, I'm not going to go through every single one of these. Well, maybe I will. Angel of the Dire Hour is actually not to be cast with Kaalia. She was actually intended to cast with the flash trigger so that I can take out the other cards that the other attacking creatures. The Ale, the Dawn Sky, is in there because of its extra abilities, and it can have other targets available for it, giving me more value. Also, the Archivist is in here because of its flash ability and because everybody loves to search their library. So it finally gives white a little bit of card draw. The next thing that I swapped out and put in the deck here is the Death Pack Angel. This deck was definitely lacking in angels and dragons before, because Kaalia can put those on the battlefield right away attacking. I thought it would be fun to actually put in some partner cards. In that case, we put in the Unredeemed as well as the Redeemer. So that gives me a little bit more benefits, where I kind of chain those things, those enter the battlefield effects together. One of the new cards I've added here is really just for the treasure token. It's a Dragon Noble, 3/1. It's not really intended to do anything but give me a little bit more gas or ability to cast things quickly. Tesa is another one that, even though she doesn't fit into the theme of dragon, demons, and angels, the fact that she has protection from creatures, definitely valuable. Since card draw is king, we've also got a sorcery of cut of the prophets in there. That idea of being able to draw X cards, because I will often find myself with no cards in hand. I'm all for, board wipes, as you know. And Merciless Eviction was another card that was laying around that I just figured I should add in there. As far as enchantments, I added in a Search the Premises, taking out Ashes of the Abhorrent. And then we get into the thing that actually pushes the deck into a more competitive vein, and that is the adding of instants. We've added the Fury, we've added their Cauldron Dance, we've added Heliod's Intervention. Good for getting rid of those enchantments that are usually tough to get rid of, or gaining twice the life just to get me an extra turn or so. Sanguine Sacrament, also another instant to be able to change the face of the game quickly. Another Will's Reversal, and why not throw some dice rolling in while we have the chance. A few artifact changes here. We added in a Boros Signet, we added in a Replicating Ring, and we added in a Soul Talisman. Those few changes were enough to push this in a more competitive direction. So my point is, if you want to get better with the decks that you have and you don't have a good basis to compare them, use tappedout.net to get a feel for what your deck could improve on. Plug it in the way it is, swap out a few cards, and then compare the rating. And again, it lets you know right here whether it's going to be casual or competitive based on the cards you have in there. Now, I don't know the algorithm. I can't explain exactly how it works, but I can tell you that this has vastly improved. Get it? Vastly. Anyhow, it has vastly improved how Kaalia works. Anyhow, having said that, we'll return you back to the Game Hub and Comic Bug. So you can see by following these three helpful, hopefully they're helpful, suggestions, I think you're going to find that you're going to have more fun playing the games and won't feel quite as stressed.